guys. I've been waiting here for half an hour.
What? Are you ready there? I have been on the streetcar for 40 minutes.
Sorry, I'm still walking. I'm kind of lost.
I'm here, but I've been looking for a parking spot for like 20 minutes.
I told you guys to take the TTC subway. It's so fast and so convenient, save you a lot of time, and you never get lost.
Did you just say subway?
Okay, I gotta tell you guys something.
Some subway stations are located at the intersection point of multi-modes of transportations, including subway, railway, buses, and ferries, and so on. These subway stations functions as transport hubs. In the cases that we are going to look at, passengers transfers between all kinds of public transportation routes in a subway station. Therefore, this subway station became a very essential point in transportation of a region, a scale that's a couple times bigger than a city. Union Station is Canada's busiest and most important passenger transportation hub, yet it is not an ordinary transportation hub, normally speaking. Transportation hub is where multiple intercity railway routes intersect, and they are located at the suburb of a city. But Union Station is not only the intersection of intercity routes, but an intersection point of the intercity railways and subway lines that runs across the downtown core of Toronto, which is TTC. Union Station is the linkage between the intercity traveling and the casual traveling within downtown area. Travelers can hop off their trains coming from hundreds miles away at Union Station, and from here they can just wait for another 2 minutes to get on a subway that takes them to Eaton Centre, or right in front of their apartment. Any passengers that you come across at Union Station in a Sunday afternoon, they could be going to Dundas Station, or they might as well on their way to Montreal. In order to accommodate the juxtaposition of multimodal transportation, Union Station has to guarantee the transition between all the railway, streetcar, and subway is smooth and easy to access. There are 5 ways you can enter the Union Station subway, 2 of which is directly linked to the underground level of office buildings, Royal Bank Plaza and Brookfield Place. 1 is for the pedestrians, locating on the north side of Front Street. The other 2 is for the travelers who get off from their intercity travelings, either by bus or train. Both of these 2 entrances are connected to outdoor, with wide openings. This 2 street-level staircases is very wide and located at the south side of Front Street. This is to accommodate the travelers who arrive to Union Station by GO bus, probably from Mississauga to Kitchener. The other one is the mode entrance that connects the subway station and the York GO train concourse. Passengers that arrive from a GO train, who traveled a much further distance, could transfer to the TTC system indoor very efficiently and comfortably. However, this mode entrance is still under construction, and is open to air for the time being, but later it will be covered by glass canopy, and becomes a walkway for the travelers. Now let's watch a short clips introducing the construction of the mode entrance of Union Station.
Move traffic away from street level, avoiding delays caused by traffic congestion and leaving more land available for buildings and other uses. A subway has a high carrying capacity of passengers within urban areas and suburbs.
Regional sites of subway stations can better facilitate the overall site layout and lines. We divided the sites of subway stations into two types. We call them anchor sites and free sites. Anchor sites refer to those key nodes that must be set in the planning of subway line. These sites are usually set up in city transport hubs and distribution centers with large passenger flow volume. They aim to perfect the route planning and can directly affect the selection of the overall sites and free sites. On the other hand, when we set free sites, we need to consider the passenger flow volume, distance between two stations, urban topography, and some other factors. They're usually set with actual situation till anchor sites have been selected. Selections of subway sites always start from traffic situations in urban, but they're also based on four major principles. First, subway stations are set in where has lots of demand of passengers.
An urban subway station is a starting point for passengers to enjoy the service. If it is in a appropriate site, it can have a positive effect on orienting and gathering the passenger flow, maximizing the role of the subway in the traffic function. In the urban area, the shorter distance between two stations can attract more passengers to use subways. For instance, in the downtown of Paris, the average distance between stations is 548 meters. Subways is the most popular transportation in Paris, and the annual passenger flow volume has reached 1.5 billion in 2010. Interestingly, people in Paris like to use the name of a subway station to describe their location, which shows that the subway plays such an important role in their lives.
Second, it needs to be economical and reasonable to construct a subway line. It has to be rational to design the number of subway stations and construct them in sites where it can maximize the economical benefits. Therefore, we need to minimize the cost of the construction while maximizing the actual value of a subway.
40% of tracks in New York City is not underground due to both the technology and economy at that time they built the subway. The cost of construction above the ground was less than that of tunnels below the ground.
Third, the technology applied in construction can be realized. The size of subway lines also depend on the construction technologies that can be realized. Usually, different technologies applied to subway sites can meet varying city topography and shapes of routes. For instance, Jinan, a city in China, has abundant underground water resource. When subways are planned to set, they're avoiding the sensitive areas with spring and set at different layers with underground. The tracks of subway are set below the ground, but sometimes parts of a track will be set above the ground due to the geological problems.
For instance, most parts of Line 6 of Paris Metro were built in overhead position due to the terrain. Meanwhile, some of city digs particularly deep tunnels due to the soil instability, such as St. Petersburg in Russia. Most subway stations of St. Petersburg Metro will dig beneath the ground over 50 meters.
In addition, as buildings above the ground sometimes need to be removed during the construction of subways, if the route may go through an area of the engine, then the sites have to be changed. The last but not the least, the location of the subway station can coordinate with the development of the surroundings. When the distance between two stations is long enough, production, commercial, and other multifunctional projects are more willing to develop around the subway, so that it will be easier to form and develop a region with multiple functions. To promote the commercial benefits of a region, some subway stations may access to shopping centers or tourist attractions.
Dundas Station, Oakdale Station, and North York Centre Station in Toronto are right below the shopping malls. Place Royal Museum of Louvre Station in Paris can access to the Museum of Louvre directly. The siting of those stations offer people convenience, but also promote the commercial benefits of the surrounding.
Since the time and external conditions change, the urbanization will accelerate and the number of passengers will increase. Therefore, it needs to be considered of the distribution of traffic and the trends of passengers distribution in the future when the sites of subways are selected. Using Toronto as an example, since the housing price in suburb areas like Markham is relatively lower, more people, including many new immigrants, are willing to live in suburbs. If TTC have enough capital to extend to suburbs with large population, it can not only give convenience to people who live in suburbs who work in downtown, but also solve the traffic congestions on highway to downtown during the rush hours. Besides, it can promote the economical development of Markham and its surrounding city like Scarborough, which is between Markham and downtown. Also, in 2027, a new airport will be built in the East Toronto to share the bundle of Pearson International Airport. If the subway can extend to Markham, it will be easier for people to go to the airport as well. Therefore, based on the four principles, subways and the city can interact each other.
Subway and city culture. Every city has a specific culture, which will be shown in many aspects, such as humanistic spirit, local customs, city planning, and so on. When you travel to a new city, you may feel confused about them, while the city subway will be a good choice to explore them, for subway is a concentration of the city. You can feel histories, developments, and even futures from it, which means city culture and subway interact with each other. Take North America as an example. The countries like the US and Canada, because of immigration and short history, the cultures of those cities are always diversified, are combinations of different religions and customs, which means no specific cultural characters. This can be reflected in their cultural subways as well. Oppositely, many Asian and European cities, because of long history and obvious cultural symbols, which can be experienced directly in the local subway stations. Subway is a city culture microcosm. It reflects a city culture by many aspects, such as designing styles, decoration details, and relevant politics. Here is an example of Paris. Everyone knows that Paris is a capital of art and fashion, and it can be reflected in their subways as well. The designing of walls and decorations is in minimalism style. On white walls, nothing redundant. While in London, its subway is aimed to show architectural achievement of Britain. Different stations has different architecture styles and materials, from early bricks and stone structure, to later steel construction, and the modern tempered glass works. On the other hand, subway can reinforce city culture. City culture needs a long-term history evolution to form. Relative to city culture development, subway culture's establishment and perfection is much faster and easier. Great city culture can promote economic development, improve city visibility, and enhance competitiveness, which means make profit for a city. As a result, some cities with rich cultural deposit can improve these advantages by the subways, while others with inconspicuous cultures choose to reinforce this by the subways as well. Moscow has the most beautiful subway in the world for its magnificent architecture style. The leaders of former Soviet Union want to reform city culture and impress people all over the world. So architects and artists spent a long time on designing the stations. By using marble and calcite relief, created these artwork-like subway architectures. Another typical example is in Nanjing, China. Because the city has about 4,000 years civilization as the capital of 8 dynasties, it has colorful city cultures to show, even in subway stations for visitors. These cultural walls reflect that the government puts lots of effort on exploring history and cultural marrow. Here, subway is to help the city to strengthen its cultural charm. Oppositely, in Busan, Korea, the city itself has no obvious city culture of history, but it makes use of subway to enhance the other culture very well. It concentrates on its natural characters of the city. Different stations has different nature sounds to announce locations for people, such as sound of sea wave will be announced arriving at coastal area. In a world, make full use of city cultural resource, explore the potential of subway culture, and combine them regionally, the city spirit will be more clear and richer.
Nowadays, more and more subways don't require a driver anymore. In that case, subways become energy-saving and environmental. It can also eliminate human mistakes. Passengers can have better subway experiences because the uphill-downhill routes will become smoother and there will be no delayed trains anymore. In 2013, Hong Kong's mass transit railway subway system demonstrated a smarter, more efficient way forward. MTR turned to an artificial intelligence optimization algorithm to schedule its maintenance. When you have to take a subway train and it's more than like half an hour, what would you want to do? Facebooking? To see what your friends are doing? Chatting with your friends maybe? Instagramming a selfie you just took? But what do you need to do all these things? Yes, the internet. Subways in cities like Shanghai, Beijing, Seoul, and Paris all have 3G signals covered in the subway system, so that people can use their phones during the subway ride. But places like Toronto or New York still have no service underground. Or maybe I'm totally wrong, you may want to read books or newspapers in the morning if you have a good spot in the train. But the absence of signal would stop certain people from riding the subway, such as businessmen, since they don't want to miss the important phone calls. If Toronto subway has signal covered, I would love to ride the subway from downtown to my uptown home after school, and I can keep my mom updated and she doesn't have to worry about my safety. Now, because of the open-air nature of the subway tunnels, climate control for the most of the platforms is out of the question, so making them more tolerable will require the more radical technological fix of actually separating the platform space from the track space. A barrier of see-through plastic or other material could seal off the tracks from the platforms, except for the doorways aligned with the train doors. The resulting enclosed platform space could be cooled or heated. Many transit systems worldwide have been doing this, but Toronto is still not using these doors. It would be beneficial for Toronto to have this system, particularly because of the cold winters. And sometimes in winter, it's just freezing standing there and waiting for the train to come. As an additional bonus, no one could accidentally fall onto the tracks, and no one could throw litters on the third rail. I still remember when I first came to Toronto, I was afraid of the subway stations because every time a train passes by, the sudden emptiness on the railway makes me think I would fall. Subway stations can boost the city economy as well. More retail stores and restaurants would open next to the subway stations or just underground right beside the subway trains. People would be more willing to take subways if there is good and convenient food available nearby. And if their favorite shopping center is right beside a certain subway station, it's easier for people like students who don't have a car to go shopping. And for example, Seoul is my favorite place for shopping, and a big reason is because of their powerful subway system. People can go to all the shopping, eating, cultural, and entertainment spaces by taking the subway. And this is why Seoul is always the #1 choice for people in China if they want a short distance travel. Take Beijing as another example. Beijing will construct 12 subway lines in the coming 5 years as part of the nationwide efforts to support growth as China's economy slows down. When the 12 lines are completed by 2020, the capital will support development in several key urban areas, such as the Universal Studios in Tongzhou District and the Beijing Future Science City in Changping District. If Toronto has more subway lines, things will change completely. If the subway can go up to Markham, then the economy of the suburbs will be greatly boosted, including North York and Scarborough areas. People will also have a greater sense of the GTA, since the subway connects the Great Toronto areas all together.
Hey, you guys finally here! sorry, next time I'll take this